Ancient Kush wasn't just a kingdom of gold, it was an empire built on fire and forged metal, a truth literally buried under millions of tons of metallurgical waste, the colossal, forgotten evidence of an industrial age that most textbooks completely ignore. These aren't just remnants of an ancient craft, they are silent witnesses to a civilization that perfected iron production on a scale and with a sophistication that rivals, and in some crucial aspects, even predated, the renowned metalworking of the Roman world. Today, you're going to step into an archaeological dig of the mind, uncovering how the Kingdom of Kush, particularly its later capital Meroë, didn't just dabble in metallurgy, but became a powerhouse of advanced iron and steel production, shattering long-held assumptions about ancient African innovation. Prepare to re-evaluate the very foundations of technological progress in the ancient world. For generations, the narrative of iron in antiquity has been remarkably consistent, almost a rigid dogma. It began, so the story goes, in Anatolia with the Hittites, spreading slowly westward across the Near East and then northward into Europe. Africa, when it was mentioned at all in this context, was often portrayed as a recipient of this technology, a place where iron arrived much later, perhaps filtering down from Egypt or across the Sahara. Mainstream history books, if they feature the Kingdom of Kush at all, tend to focus almost exclusively on its early Egypt-dominated period, when its pharaohs ruled a unified Nile Valley, or on its wealth in gold. Kush was primarily seen as a supplier of raw materials or a cultural echo of its northern neighbor, never as a hub of independent, transformative innovation. The sheer scale of its later achievements in areas like metalworking simply didn't fit this neat, Eurocentric linear progression of technology. It was easier, perhaps, to skip over an entire industrial revolution if it didn't align with the established timeline. Archaeologists and historians of the early 20th century, working with limited data and often through a lens shaped by colonial biases, saw impressive stone structures and pyramids, certainly, but largely overlooked the vast, dark mounds that dotted the landscape around Meroë. They interpreted these mounds, if they noticed them at all, as natural hills or inconsequential refuse, failing to see them as the monumental byproduct of an advanced technological society. This perspective, tragically, meant an entire chapter of human ingenuity remained unread, and for decades that was the accepted history. But then, the Earth began to whisper its real story. Imagine standing on a landscape, not of sand and rock, but of what looks like black, petrified mountains. These aren't geological formations, they are man-made. These are the slag heaps of Meroë, the colossal solidified waste from iron smelting, towering up to 10 meters high and stretching for hundreds of meters. They are, in essence, the fossilized evidence of an industrial heartland. Archaeologists like Professor P.L. Shinney and Dr. David Killick, excavating in the mid-20th century and later, began to meticulously document these sites, and what they found was nothing short of astonishing. Carbon dating of organic materials found within these slag heaps pushes their origins back to at least the 6th century BCE, and perhaps even earlier, placing Meroïtic iron production squarely in a period when many other regions were still in the nascent stages of the Iron Age. This wasn't just early iron production, it was massive early iron production. The scale is almost incomprehensible. Estimates suggest the Meroïtes produced hundreds of thousands, potentially even millions of tons of iron over a 1,000-year period. One of the most compelling discoveries was the sophistication of their bloomery furnaces. These weren't crude pits, these were expertly constructed, pear-shaped furnaces, often with intricate natural draft systems, utilizing prevailing winds and cleverly designed air vents to achieve the incredibly high temperatures necessary to reduce iron ore. Dr. Killick's detailed analyses revealed that the Meroïtes were not only extracting iron, but were capable of producing what we would recognize as a form of steel, a high-carbon iron alloy, through skilled control of the smelting process. They understood thermodynamics long before the term existed. The consistency of the slag, the efficiency of the bloom extraction, the sheer volume, all point to a highly organized, deeply knowledgeable metallurgical industry. This wasn't accidental. This was engineering. This was science, practiced with fire and earth. What does it truly mean when we discover an ancient African kingdom was a master of iron and steel, churning out metal on a scale comparable to, or even surpassing, its contemporaries in Europe and Asia, and potentially even preceding some of their most refined methods. It completely reconfigures our understanding of ancient technological diffusion. It forces us to ask, what other narratives have we simply missed? The Meroitic iron industry wasn't just a localized craft, it was foundational to their power and prosperity for over a millennium. Iron tools would have revolutionized agriculture, leading to more efficient farming, larger harvests, and the ability to sustain a denser population. Iron weapons, superior in durability and edge retention, would have given their armies a distinct advantage in a geopolitically complex region, securing their trade routes and territorial integrity against rivals like the Ptolemaic and Roman empires to their north. Archaeological finds of Meroitic swords, arrowheads, and agricultural implements underscore this widespread application of their advanced metallurgy. This revelation doesn't just add a footnote to history, it redraws the map of ancient innovation. For too long, the story of technological progress has been told as a linear march from a few central points, often overlooking indigenous developments across vast continents. The Meroitic achievements demonstrate that complex, large-scale industrial processes requiring deep scientific understanding and societal organization were thriving in parts of Africa far earlier than commonly acknowledged. It challenges the very idea of a singular cradle of civilization from which all knowledge flowed. Instead, we see multiple independent centers of profound technological advancement, each contributing uniquely to the human story. The wealth of Meroë wasn't solely in gold and trade. It was in the intellectual capital, the skilled labor, and the innovative spirit that could transform raw earth into powerful tools and formidable weapons. It was a kingdom forged in fire. So, when you now consider ancient Africa, especially the lands south of Egypt, can you still see it as a mere recipient of outside knowledge? Or do you now picture a vibrant, innovative civilization, a powerhouse of skilled metallurgists and engineers whose industrial output literally shaped their world? This isn't just about dates and furnaces, it's about reclaiming a vital, undeniable chapter of human ingenuity, revealing the Meroites as master innovators who stood shoulder to shoulder with any ancient industrial power. They remind us that true history is always far more complex, more interconnected, and infinitely more surprising than the simplified stories we were taught. And there are so many more untold stories buried within the archaeological record, waiting for us to uncover them, waiting to utterly transform how you understand the world that shaped our own.